All right, there we go. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I had a couple of things I had to finish up before I started the show. So we're going to get into this. This one's not going to be very long. A friend of mine's on the way over to watch the game. So, and I get to have my one unhealthy meal for the week, and I have chosen to have Nashville hot chicken. I will be finishing this particular broadcast. I'm going to go get said chicken. Me and my friend are going to sit there and hopefully watch the Canes have a better effort than we've seen in the last few games. Now, accounting for the fact that the whole flu thing has been going around and everything else, I've still got a few concerns about the team myself. I will get into that further over the course of the show. I'm still not worried about Rantanen signing. I already know that's going to get asked. I still think he's going to sign here for the multitude of reasons I went over in that stream about him. Biggest thing being is he's going to get the money he wants. He's going to get the trade protection he wants. And if he's really not happy here, Carolina will be able to move him. Tulski will not have to make a single outgoing call. So I just wanted to get that out there before I got started on the rest of the show. All Canes Network, what's up, dude? I know that you can't hear, but I just wanted to let you know I see what you said there and have fun at the game and everything. I'm hoping I'll be down there at the end of the month. I'm going to try to make 2 or 3 at the end of February. I'm going to try to make a couple in March, but with us getting ready to move to South Carolina and everything, it's going to be really busy. Now, next season, I can make a lot more home games. That's not going to be a problem. All right, let me get this added to the stage here. All right, so first things first, normal stuff of me saying I don't own the NHL logos or any of that. Above all, I want to cite the sources where I get all the stats from: NHL, Edge, Reference or Hockey Reference, Natural Stat Trick, Money Puck, Quant Hockey, Frozen Pool, Puckpedia, and StatMuse. Thank you very much for all the work you do to make this a lot better, because maintaining all that information is not easy. All right, so the last time I did a damage report, I think was when we played Utah. Was the last time that I got to do it. It might have there might have been one between now and then. And I remember I was incredibly pissed off that Carolina basically had a man advantage of some kind, be it 5-on-3 or 5-on-4, for basically the entire last 10 minutes of the damn game, and totally choked away what was a perfect opportunity to be able to win. And hopefully we don't have a repeat of that. Like I said, acknowledging for the fact that the team has been sick, they've still been able to dominate the offensive zone and put a lot of shots on net and everything like that. So I don't think that that should be used as much of an excuse as it has been, or as much of a reason, I should say. However, it is a factor, but I don't think it's as big of a factor as everyone is believing that it is. So we'll go ahead and get into the rest of this here. So Utah is 5th in the Central Division. They are 5-3-2 in their last 10 games, 4-10-3 on the road. That's actually not terrible. Goal differential, this is the first team that we played against in a while with a negative goal differential. They are -7 with a 150 to 157 ratio. Goals for per game, 2.78. They are 24th in the National Hockey League. Goals against per game, 2.91. They are 14th. So this is a team the Hurricanes should be able to score on, especially considering some of the guys that Utah has out. Power play, 21.3%, 15th. That is probably not really indicative of how good Utah's power play will or can be. We will get to that at the end with the potential advantages slide. Penalty kill 82.5 for them, so not bad. They're 6th in the NHL with that. So that's one special teams net where they might be able to stay close to Carolina over the course of this game. Overall special teams net percentage is 51.9. That is more thanks to their penalty kill than their power play, just kind of like with Carolina. And 51.3 in the circle for 11th in the NHL. So with the Canes, not much has changed since the last time that I got to do one of these shows. 177 to 149 for a goal differential. The good news here is the Canes are back home, and matchups, Carolina is really good when they can dictate matchups and get the line combinations they want out there to be able to dictate the terms of the game. Shut down put Jordan Stahl out there to shut down who they want him to shut down and open up other guys like Aho, Ranton, and Jarvis, etc., to be able to get more favorable matchups so that they can go out there and produce. Whereas you have guys like Martin, Stahl, etc., that keep the game close. That's the big difference there. Goals for per game, no change there, 3.22. It went down from 3.32, no big deal. Goals against per game, also about the same. It went down, I think, 1/10 of a percentage point. Power play, 19.6. This is something the Canes really need to figure out sooner rather than later. Lack of scoring on the power play is going to be the death of this team. And on top of that, they're not producing 5-on-5 they get as much as they should. They've got to start finding some offense somewhere. The power play would be a great place to find it, and then maybe that'll translate 5-on-5 or vice versa. We'll see. But more than anything, I'd rather them really get back to scoring 5-on-5 because the Canes can win without having the greatest power play because they get their net positives through defense, penalty killing, and scoring 5-on-5. With all this volume shooting, there's no reason why the Canes aren't scoring more. Hopefully they start to figure that out today. The new guys getting settled in, everything like that, and hopefully that'll start getting a lot better. Penalty kill still first in the NHL at 85.6. Special teams net positives still sitting at 52.6 and 52.8 for the faceoffs, which puts them 4th in the NHL. So still doing pretty solid despite the recent struggles and everything. I know that I've been pretty vocal about how much I've been annoyed by some of the stuff that's been going on with this team, but today's a new day. Today's a fresh slate. Maybe they can go into the break, be positive, and then be able to come back out. It will be really good to get a win today and go into the break on a good note, and then everybody can start sorting stuff out. That being said, you have to remember every other team in the National Hockey League. I was just wondering what weird noise my dog was back there making. We have to remember that every other team in the NHL, to varying degrees, depending on how many players they have at the Four Nations face-off, are also getting a break and a chance to recoup, recover, and regroup. This is one of those times where Carolina, considering they do have a decent amount of players there, you have 4 total. They've got to make the most of this time off, the ones that aren't going to play, and hopefully they'll come back out of the break a little bit more refreshed and a little bit more ready to go than the others. All right, so injuries, news, and scratches. Utah's without Sean Durzi and Robert Bortuzzo. That's 2 of their more important defensemen. Sean Durzi essentially fills a Shane Gostisbehere type of role for Utah. He's a very offensive defenseman. Robert Bortuzzo's a shutdown guy with size. So that's one thing to keep in mind here. Carolina, should they have all their defensemen, which it sounds like that they will. The questionable ones are in the forward group as far as who's going to play. Carolina's got a bigger advantage than normal against Utah when it comes to the defense, and they really need to take advantage of that tonight. So they need to really activate, get their defense involved, and that should definitely help with them, and then defend well in your own end, and it should make this a lot easier today. Carolina has a lot of questions about the lineup today per Walt Ruff, who asked Rod Brindamore. Status of Aho and Rantanen in particular is unknown. We will see what happens at game time. But as it stands right now, there's a lot of decisions left to be made as far as the lineup. All right, so not much change here in regards to Carolina from the last show about who's leading and what. They're pretty much all the same, except the numbers are a little bit different. Goals. So when it goes over to Utah here, Dylan Guenther, 19 goals. Clayton Keller, 39 assists. Clayton Keller, 57 points as far as their leading scorers go. Utah, and I talked about this the last time we played them, they're one of those teams that you don't really have to shut down lines. You have to shut down individual players. Guenther and Keller are those two guys primarily. Logan Cooley as well. Mikhail Sergachev, who he's a really good two-way defenseman, but he leans more towards the offensive side of things. Speaking of Mikhail Sergachev, he leads Utah with points among defensemen with 34. Power play goals, Dylan Guenther and Logan Cooley both have 9. Shots on goal, Clayton Keller has 140. Shots blocked, Ian Cole with 145. And their average time on ice is led by Mikhail Sergachev with 25.47. He's their big workhorse there on the blue line. And he's one of the big guys that you have to worry about as far as their defenseman who can cause you problems at both ends, but especially in the offensive zone. Like I said, everybody on this list right here, with the exception of Ian Cole, if you keep them off the board, Carolina probably wins this game, regardless of who does or does not play. 5-on-5 forecast here with the lines. There's a lot of uncertainty around the lines for Carolina. And as far as Utah's lines go, I just clipped what their most recent start was. Difference being, as far as I know, the lines are exactly the same. I haven't seen anything to say that they're different. Only difference is Vemelka is starting for them as opposed to Connor Ingram. Now, when we're talking their lines there, Keller, Kerfoot, and Schmaltz, if there is a line you have to shut down, it's that one right there, particularly because of Clayton Keller's ability to drive offense. He's really damn good at that. He's small, he's quick, he's fast, and he'll blow right by you and get to the front of the net and create an opportunity, whether it's one of those little short 2 or 3 foot cross-ice passes or shooting the puck himself and generating rebounds. He does all that type of stuff. He's an excellent player. Second line there, Barrett Hayton, Carcone, and Dylan Guenther. Like I said, Dylan Guenther is one of those guys that you really have to shut down in this game. He's one of those individual players that can make things very difficult for you. Lawson Krause, Jack McBain, and Josh Stone for their third line. That is a really good checking line, actually. It's a really good shutdown line. I expect them to see a lot of minutes against Aho, should he be playing, Rantanen, should he be playing, as much as they can get that matchup. But it doesn't hold a candle to our depth overall. And then the last one being O'Brien, Stenlund, and Bukestad. That's all. That line's got a little bit of a scoring touch with it at times, primarily thanks to Stenlund and Bukestad. But again, that's more of a shutdown line as well. Defense-wise, Sergachev, Marino, that's the best pair that they have, and the other two are not even remotely as good as their first one right now with Durzi and Bortuzzo out. So I'm taking Carolina's defense here 9 times out of 10 in this particular matchup right here. You might have a little bit more physicality in that defense than Carolina, but as far as their ability to defend off the rush, deny entry, zone exits, all that type of stuff, Carolina should be significantly better in that regard. And that's going to be Carolina's defense is going to be key to them winning today, considering it looks like they're the only regulars that we know are going to be in the lineup. As far as Carolina's lines go, same lines from last time with the projections that are the same lines as last time, but this is the projected lineup for today. Aho and Rantanen are both game time decisions. We'll see. If we don't see either one of them, you'll definitely see Morrow in there. So it'll be another day of 11-7. And 11-7 sucks for everybody. It sucks for the defensemen. It sucks for the forwards. So the less you do it, the better. But Carolina, even if they do go 11-7, even if they're without Aho or Rantanen, then they should be able to get something done in this game. This is a totally winnable game. Speed, Carolina has a pretty good advantage there. Speed will be important today as well. Like I said, especially with Carolina's defense being able to move the puck quickly and get up ice, join the rush, and put shots on net. That'll be pretty essential today. Shooting-wise, again, this is one of those teams where Carolina outdoes them in the volume shooting, but marginally on the shooting percentage. So this is one of those days, considering you're playing against Kirill Vemelka. We already saw what he can do against Carolina. You might want to try to produce higher quality chances and go for less of the volume shooting today. I would like for them to do that in general. We'll see how it goes. NHL Edge data, zone time. Not much really to say here. This is like the normal stuff here. The only difference is here, Carolina doesn't have the dominance in all three zones like it does, but it's a very marginal difference with the neutral zone with these guys. And this just kind of illustrates who spends the most time where and everything as far as a team. Carolina commanding offensive zone time, very short amount of neutral zone time, and short amount of defensive zone time, but really marginal difference there when it comes to the neutral zone and the defensive zone as far as time spent there. Carolina can make the most of their offensive zone time today and keep this a low event game and win. But even if it's a high event game, Carolina should be able to outscore a team like Utah. They really should. There's no excuse why, if this does turn into a track meet, that they don't win. So we'll see what happens. A low event game would be favorable, but it's not as necessary as it would be against a team like Winnipeg or Minnesota, as we've seen in the last couple of games. So goalie matchup, this is where everyone's probably got a little bit of a trauma from the last time we played them, considering what Kirill Vejmelka did, and that wasn't the first time that he did that to the Canes. I'm hoping that Carolina considers taking a run at Kirill Vejmelka in the offseason. If these two guys on the screen right here become a goaltending tandem, I think that could be excellent. Carolina prioritizes depth over superstardom at pretty much every position. I say that with the asterisk that we acquired Mikko Rantanen. However, I think depth at the goaltending position would be better than Carolina going out and getting a superstar type of goalie, which none of them are probably available anyway. So we will see what happens with that. Pyotr Kochekov is 19-10-3. He has a 2.48 goals against average and a 903 save percentage in 33 games played. Kirill Vejmelka took on a heavier workload. Unfortunately, Connor Ingram had to step away for family-related reasons for a while, but he is 12-14-4, a 2.46 goals against average and a save percentage of 910, games played 32. So when it comes to Vejmelka, a lot of what the reason why he has the record he does, despite having incredibly similar numbers to Kochekov, is because the team in front of him doesn't defend as well as it probably should, especially with Durzi and Bortuzzo, especially Bortuzzo in the regard of the defensive side of things being out. So that's the other thing to consider when it comes to why his numbers are like that. Make no mistake, he is a very good goalie, and not just against Carolina. He's a good goalie in general. If the top 32 goalies in the league retired right now, Kirill Vejmelka would be a top 10 goalie in this league. So let's go on to the next one here. So you'll notice Vejmelka, where he's giving a lot of them up, are in the high slot area, off to the right there below, between the dots, and in the very front. That'll be a good place to start with Vejmelka, is not go for so much of the volume shooting. Sorry, I'm petting my dog. Don't go for so much of the volume shooting. Go for the higher quality chances. Hold on to it for an extra second. Maybe make something out of it that way. Totally winnable game. He doesn't have nearly the high danger save percentage as Kochekov does. So if you generate good quality, high danger chances, you should be able to solve Vejmelka and solve him. I don't want to say easily, but it shouldn't be as difficult as playing against Sergei Bobrovsky or Connor Hellebuck or someone like that. Again, even with players being out and getting over the flu, winnable game. It really should be. All right, so potential advantages here. Also accounting for the fact of both sides having players out. Overall 5-on-5, I'm going to give the Canes the advantage there. Scoring forwards, I'm giving Utah the advantage there primarily because of Cooley, Gunther, and Keller. It also accounts for the fact that Aho and or Rantanen may not play, so we'll see. Overall forward depth, with the depth players that Carolina has, I think that the bottom six will come in handy today. All six defensemen, I'm giving Carolina the nod there, like by a lot, especially considering Durzi and Bortuzzo are out. Power play unit 1, I know that the power plays have not been good lately, but I think that this is the game where they can really get it going again. So power play unit 1 and the overall power play, I'm going to give Carolina the advantage there. I think this is the day where they can get going again. Penalty kill, Carolina has a big advantage there. It's going to be necessary today. Goaltending, I was back and forth on this, but I've seen too much of what Kirill Vejmelka can do to Carolina to not give them that edge today. And on top of that, Carolina tends to make, backup goalies look like Carey Price in his prime at times. Overall advantage, Canes. I do genuinely believe that they will win this game today. I really think that they can get it done. So that should be all right. So last thing here, All right, low event game, like I said, not necessarily needed, but it would be helpful. Use the depth to create the advantages at home with last change. That's going to be a big deal today. Push towards higher quality chances, less volume shooting, like I was just talking about. And again, the defense is a big advantage today. We need all 6 of the defensemen to be able to really pull their weight today. And then we should have such a big advantage there that it kind of nullifies any advantages they have as far as the 3 guys they have that do the most scoring for them. All right, and that's not done. All right, and pull that up here. All right, I'm going to get to some of the comments, and then I'm going to order my damn food. Dylan Bollinger says, I ain't worried about the team as most. I feel like they're too talented for this slump to continue much longer, and this break coming up and Fishy playing with Moose and 4 Nations will. Yeah, I've got my concerns about the team right now just because I feel like I've seen this so many times. The high volume shooting, the XG being like 4 and then them only scoring 1 or 2 and then losing 3-2. And it happens against really good goalies and then it happens against backup goalies. That's why I have a concern with it. And like I said, I feel like the flu argument, like, okay, don't get me wrong, that's a factor, but I feel like it's a little bit overblown because like there's still been times where they outplay and outchance teams for several sequences and spend a ton of time in the offensive zone and then don't score. So, like I said, a factor, yes, but I don't think it's as big a one as a lot of people are saying it is. And that excuse goes away after today. So, Thayer Crafts, what's up, bro? I hate to be that guy, but we will not win a cup with Kochekov and Anderson. It's not possible. With that being said, I sincerely pray that the organization prioritizes getting 2 elite goaltenders. Anderson, I don't expect him to come back. Then again, I said that last season. I thought that they would download him and get somebody else. Shout out to Kochekov for Vezina on X, who said that we should have got Logan Thompson, and boy, was he right. Also, hi, yes, absolutely. AB Caniac Sessions stole the phrase from BTS of yellow. Dylan Bollinger says PK is still very young, not in goalie prime years yet, but yes, Freddie needs to be replaced for a few reasons, mostly can't stay healthy. Yeah, and the other thing is, like, I think the Canes should hold on to Kochekov for the right price because at a minimum, he's at least a 1B. If you prioritize, like, don't build a starter backup relationship, especially not on a team like Carolina, or a starter backup dynamic, I should say. Build a 1A, 1B dynamic, and you prioritize depth everywhere else. You prioritize it with the defense. You prioritize it with the forwards for the most part. The one exception being them acquiring Rantanen this season. And I guess you could say Gensel last season. You might as well prioritize having a balanced type of depth in the goaltending position because you already do that with your defense as well. You know, it's like each pair is one guy who's more of a safety valve shutdown dude, and then the other one's more of a puck mover offensive defenseman. The one exception to that being Sean Walker. I feel like he's gotten to where he's great at both ends of the ice now, so he can be a shutdown guy for Gostisbehere, or if they moved him up and had him playing with Slavin, theoretically, he would start producing. Particularly, he would start scoring goals a lot more, I think. But J-Dub says, what up, my fellow Caniacs? What's up, bro? Hey, Caniac Sessions. Someone tell Vemelka to spot us a few and we'll sign him in the offseason. Go ahead and help out your new club. I am totally on board with bringing him in. Okay, so I'll actually go over this while I got a minute. So as far as UFAs go, and this is not accounting for whether Rantanen stays or not, and like I said, I think he will. 2 guys I'm looking at in the offseason, and no, one of them is not Mitch Marner for a multitude of reasons, because if we get Rantanen inside, I don't think we need Marner. I would take a very strong look at Nikolai Ehlers if he does go hit free agency. I don't know if he will or not. I'm going to wager to say no. Nikolai Ehlers and Kirill Vemelka, and you would make this team significantly better. And there's no doubt in my mind both those guys would improve the team, especially Nikolai Ehlers. Ehlers would fit right into this system immediately. So imagine a guy who falls in between the skill level of Jarvis and Martinook, but plays that type of game. That's Nikolai Ehlers. I would absolutely love to get him. Marner, I wouldn't be opposed to that, but it's kind of like that's a lot of money. And for that amount of money, you could get at least most of the money you would need for Ehlers and Vemelka, for example. But the Canes definitely need to go in some sort of direction like that when it comes to the goaltending sooner rather than later. So projected lineup is the same, but they are questionable players maybe. Yeah. Hold on one second. J-Dub says, during the last few games, I realized our D-men at the point seemed to skate themselves to the back corner of the zone, limiting their options, leading to bad shots, forced passes, obvious board play. Yeah, that makes sense. Fern should not be allowed to vomit 13 shit shots a game either. Dylan Bollinger says we would score more if we cleaned up all the rebounds. That's what Rantanen's for. That's, I mean, amongst other things, but that's one of the biggest things that he's for. He's supposed to be one of those guys, or well, he is. He'll figure it out. He'll find his game here. He's one of those guys that in that split second when a puck comes off of a goalie's pad and it generates a rebound, he is one of those guys that has that cerebral capability in a split second to decide, do I do a cross-site pass with this? Do I immediately shoot it? Do I hold on to it for a second, find a little daylight and shoot it and, put it in a coin slot? That's Mikko Rantanen, and he does it at an elite level, and that's what makes him so valuable. On a team that shoots the puck a ton, like Carolina, especially with a lot of those shots coming from the top of the circle or all the way up at the blue line, that's why that guy is so valuable, because he uses his size, he uses his strength, and how stable he is on his feet to be able to finish in chances like that, where a lot of other players can't do it. He does that at a level that not many other guys can do. So, and then he's got a whole bunch of other assets to his game to boot. At least Burns has been defensively responsible. Chatty and Orlov have been absolute terrible defensively. Yeah, I've not been impressed with Orlov in particular. I think Chatfield's kind of getting weighed down by him, honestly. J-Dub says, Burns defensively responsible. You must have been watching different year of Canes hockey. The old man has been beat like a drum this year. I won't go too much into it, but I will say this. I like Burnsy. I like everybody on this team. It's been a long time since there's been a player in Carolina that I just outright didn't like. The last player that was in Carolina that I just outright could not stand seeing them in a Kane sweater was Dylan Coughlin. And nothing against him as a person, but watching him play made me want to pull my hair out, but I don't have any, so I'd have to yank on this. And before that, it was Ryan Murphy, Noah Hannafin, Alexander Semin. I didn't even hate Holla while he was here. I started hating Holla after he left, but Burns is I don't know, man. It's sometimes maybe it's a little bit overblown how bad he is, but then there's also times where I'm kind of like, dude, what the hell? So I don't know. It depends. Orlov, I completely agree, though. He has looked lost at times. His offense has dried up as well. That's one of the more concerning thing about Burns to me, is that the offense has dried up. I'm hoping that'll get to coming back. Burns and Orlov will be gone for Morrow and Nikishin. Yeah, at least Nikishin. I don't know if Morrow will be ready yet. This will be a telling day if he is in the lineup, if he's starting to get close. Sorry, my dog's having anxiety right now. Yeah. Yes, Brandon, the recent games have looked like our playoff exit sequences. Yeah, and, me pointing that out on X, I had a bunch of people telling me about how wrong I was, and I'm like, numbers don't lie. That's what worries me about it, is I feel like I've seen this movie a million times. I've seen this more times than I've seen Top Gun, and if you can't tell, that's my favorite movie. So AB Caniac sessions, if we lose, prepare for Kane's X to explode. I might just fucking log out. I got better shit to do with my time. I don't know. I'm kind of pissed off that some of the things that I pointed out on there was that we've had these issues before, and people take that as me saying that we should fire Rod, which is something I have never once said. And I've challenged people on multiple occasions, find where I said that, and they've never been able to do it. I've said that maybe some adjustments need to get made on the team. You can't blame the roster anymore. You can't say that you don't have elite scoring talent on the team, or you can't say that you don't have enough elite scoring talent on the team anymore. You brought that in, and you gave up elite scoring talent and a depth piece and 2 picks to get it. So, and you've got Taylor Hall now too, who adds a little bit of that. There's no reason why the team shouldn't produce enough. Ain't wrong, AB. Marner also tends to disappear in the playoffs, which is where we need the most help, IMO. Yes, that's another reason why the rationale of bringing Mikko Rantanen in was his ability to be durable and be reliable in the playoffs. This team does not need to sign or trade for anybody without the playoffs in mind. the building, the whole stepping stone thing, the better luck next year thing, that's done. When this season started, everyone's saying it was a transition year. Okay, valid. You lost the highly coveted yet slightly no, I'm not going to say that. No, I am going to say it. The highly coveted and highly overrated pair of Brett Pesce and Brady Shea. I don't care what anybody says. They were great, but they were also on the decline. If we'd signed both of them, we would have regretted it. Maybe not this season, maybe not that soon, but eventually we would have regretted it. Carolina went in the right direction in regards to that. Eric Robinson exceeded expectations. Martin Necas, glad he's doing as well as he is in Colorado. He helped us have a hot start. Like, he is the biggest factor in that. So I would say that the expectations of this being a transition year, the moment that Mikko Rantanen landed in a Kane sweater, that's done. This is not a transition year anymore. Now, if they end up having to trade him because he doesn't sign, then different story. But you can get enough for him to still keep the team competitive right now. But the whole this is a transition year, that argument's over. The flu bug thing, that argument, after today, that's over. Like, results have got to start coming. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Burns is good. He's just simply been better defensively than Chatty and Orlov. By no means good, though. Yeah, I'm hoping after the break he'll be a lot better. You know, maybe he's playing through something. Hell, for all I know, he's been playing through something for 2 seasons. If we can get 22, 23 Burns back for 3 months, 4 months, however long's left in the season and however deep we would go in the playoffs, we'll be fine. If we get that Burns back, we're good. Every time Burns has the puck, I am just waiting for the worst, says J-Dub. Exactly, J-Dub. These games have looked like classic Canes playoff hockey. Offense dries up. PP looks discombobulated. Defense looks unsure and shaky. It's a terrible movie on loop. That's what I was saying about it the other day, and people were calling me a fair weather fan. And I'm like, do you want me to pull out my Sami Kapanen and Tuomo Ruutu sweaters? Fucking losers. Do people remember where we were before Rod took over? We want that back. No, that's not what anybody's saying, Dylan. I'm just saying that, like, the standards have changed. It's not just about making the playoffs anymore. It's like things are better with Rod. I'm not saying that they're not, but we've kind of hit stagnation, and anything less than winning a game in the conference finals is regression at this point. That's just the way I look at it. But a lot of people are just like, I'm not trying to overblow things and say that they're horrible. They're better than what they were for a long time. But they can also go in the other direction really quick. That's all I'm saying. Theorycraft says, no, Dylan, haha, I wasn't even here for the Dark Ages. I don't want any of that. No, I don't want that either. That's why I'm like, I want the team to continue to be good. And for the most part, they are. But I'm just hoping they can start solving some of these reoccurring issues that have been there. That's all I'm saying. Dylan says, been watching since 02. Trust me, you should be thrilled with what you were witnessing. Yeah, it's a lot better than back then, but they can take the next step. This team is good enough. They're talented enough. They've got the right players now. They've got a great coach. There's no reason why they can't take that next step. Dylan Bollinger also says, let's look at who we have and our prospects. We have a bright future. We do have a bright future. Like that, yeah, I'm not contesting that at all. And I don't see any reason why most of those guys wouldn't work out, especially Nikishin, Morrow, Fuss, Nadeau. It looks like all those guys are going to see sustained NHL time. Jackson Blake has come a long way already and everything. The team is ultimately going to be fine. It's just, I would like for them to eventually solve the offense drying up at the wrong time issue. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that they're not trying. It's not like Rod purposely makes bad decisions. He doesn't do that. It's not like he sits there and goes, oh, this is a horrible idea, let's do it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's same reoccurring issues. I would just like to see something different tried to solve them. That's why I always said stuff about, like, all right, let's try putting Necas at center or something like that. And then to his credit, he put Rantanen exactly where I wanted him in the last game, and it just didn't work out that way. But we'll see what happens with this game today, go into the break on a high note, hopefully, because I would like to see not just Carolina win today. I would like a dominant win, like a overwhelmingly dominant win. So, and they have a talented enough roster and a good enough coaching staff to get it done. They'll get out of this. They really will. It would just be really nice if it started today. All right, guys, I am going to go get ready to order my food and get ready to turn the game on. No damage report today. I'm hanging out with a friend of mine, so him and I are going to chill and, watch some TV after we're done watching the game and everything or whatever and all that type of stuff. And Frankie's over here laying down. He's a good boy. But yeah, no, the team's going to be fine. It's one more comment here. Like when we beat Boston earlier in the year, dude, that would be great if we smoked them. Like, then again, though, it's like smoking Boston 8-1 or whatever it was, 8-2, whatever it was. That was like festive hate watching for me because I hate the Bruins. But then, like, if we did that to Utah, I'd be like, oh my God, like, do we have to hurt them that bad? Like, there's certain teams that I'm just kind of like, I don't want anything. I don't want anything like I don't like beating teams that bad in a lot of cases. Boston, no, I'm totally okay with beating Boston like that. Anytime we can beat Boston, the Rangers, or who else? I mean, I hate a lot of teams. Sometimes I hate this team the most. Vegas, I hate Vegas. I really don't like Tampa. I don't like Washington. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. No, I think that's about it as far as teams I just really don't like. New Jersey, duh. I hate New Jersey so much I do my best not to think about them. Islander, that's like beating up beating up the Islanders at this point. It even satisfying to me anymore because of how much we've owned them in the playoffs. If you combine all the Islanders' playoff wins against Carolina, they still don't have enough to win a series. J-Dub says, enjoy your day, fam. Thank you. Thayer Creft, see you, man. Enjoy precious hockey time with your friend. Hockey with friends is elite. Yes, it is. Islanders, yeah. J-Dub, Dylan, Thayer. And to all you guys, thank you very much for joining. I will see you next time. But I think the Canes are going to be good today. I really do. I think they'll be fine. I got to have ice time this morning. I'm happy. I'm happy either way. So, because I don't get to skate a whole lot right now. So, I will see you guys later.